All right, guys, 2015 Chevrolet. It's the Equinox, and this customer's complaint is it hesitates a bit on uphill, and it chugs while backing up. Honestly, I don't know what that means, but I actually took it for a test drive, and going up the steepest hill. I didn't feel like any kind of hesitation, but I can hear it like pinging. It was pinging pretty badly trying to get it up that hill. So, yeah, I don't know if it's a Chevy thing that it just pings pre-ignition, detonation, stuff like that. But one thing I did notice, which I don't know why the customer doesn't complain about it, is there's a bearing noise coming from the rear. It's so loud that I can hear it going 20 kilometers an hour, which is probably, come on, 10 miles an hour, I think? No, maybe 15. Yeah, but maybe less than 15 miles an hour for you guys. So that's how loud it is. Once I got it at 60 kilometers an hour or 40 miles an hour, or 60 kilometers an hour or 40 miles an hour, it got really loud. So it's so loud that my my ears are starting to hurt. That's how bad the wheel bearing noise was. But the customer isn't complaining about the wheel bearing noise. So, and it also wants me to check the oil level, which I did before I took it for a test drive, and it's on a full mark and it looks clean. So it looks like it's been recently changed. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if these Chevys are very bad for pre-ignition and detonation, but it was pinging. I can hear it. It was like this pinging away trying to get up the hill. So yeah, I don't know if these things take premium or regular, but I'm not a Chevy tech, but people bring their Chevys to a Honda dealership, and this thing has no history. Let me show you. I don't know if I can show you history without showing all the customer's information, but it's blank. No history on this customer. So most likely it's somebody that works here, knows this person, and they decided to bring it to us. So this is why we get a lot of off-make vehicles and not just Hondas. But anyways, I want to check that wheel bearing noise at least, because it's super loud, and I don't know why a customer doesn't complain about that. Man, this is nice and shiny, these chrome wheels. But so when I was test driving it, when I turned left, it got louder. So I'm on the right side. So what happens when you turn left, right, when you're going in a turn, it loads up the side, and that's how you determine if it's a left or a right side. When you make a turn and it's louder one way, then it's the opposite side, and then if it's louder the other way, vice versa. But I can show you that it's the right side. When I was turning left, it got louder. I just spin it. That's how loud it is. I don't know how well that catches on the camera, but you can hear how loud that is. Yeah, you hear that? Pretty loud. Here, let me go and spin the good one. Here's the good side. Nothing. Quiet. So we definitely have a bad wheel bearing on the right rear. So that solves my noise issue, which the customer wasn't complaining about. Looks like it's got brand new tires too, so recently replaced.
Are these eco-tech engines, they're known for oil consumption?
Yeah, but it's full. They've been blowing up. Like Chevys blow up engines, right?
Yeah.
So when I was driving up the hill, customers complaining that it's like hesitating. Yeah. But when I was going up the hill, it's like I can hear it pinging. The engine's like pinging. Yeah. You can hear like that clacking noise. But yeah, I was just going up the hill. So I don't know what you do in that. You can't really fix that. Yeah.
Usually
maybe it's a Chevy thing.
Just look at oil to see if it's consuming.
Well, the oil is full and clean. It's like brand new. Here, let me pop the hood. I'll show you.
Yeah. Having like correlation issues?
No check engine light. It's well, direct injection. And turn on the light. It's clean, brand new oil, so we don't know if it's having oil consumption issues, but you can see it's at the top of the dipstick, clean. So yeah, I don't know, anything direct injected, naturally aspirated, they ping a lot. Ask me how I know, because I was at Hyundai. The 2.4 liters, 1.6 liters, they all ping. It's just all the carbon and everything inside the cylinder. But BG really helps with the pre-ignition detonation, or like a pinging. You just spray it into the intake and it cleans the top of the piston, and then it goes away for a little bit, and then it comes back once it carbons up again. So yeah, so clean oil. Somebody's probably changed it at some point. We don't know if it's consuming oil or anything. It is direct injected. It's a 3.6 liter V6. Yeah. Other than the wheel bearing noise, also the tires look brand new. Looks like it had a fresh oil change. Literally everything looks like it's been detailed. I don't know. It's like it's got that film of oil. I don't know if this person just bought the car or something, right? Because you know they shampoo it or detail the engine compartment, and everything looks all nice. Because I put my hand and rub everything. You can see all that engine shine or whatever they put on it. So I don't know if this is a used car that this customer just recently bought. Look, so you see it glistening. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. Other than that, like the headlights are cracked, stuff like that. I'm just gonna make a note on the inspection. But I'm gonna recommend that right rear wheel bearing, which is super noisy. I just spun it. You can hear it pretty loud. I don't know how well it caught on the camera, but going 20 kilometers an hour, just like normal driving, I already hear it. It was like super loud already. But yeah. Advisor's coming down. Just want to get some more information. Maybe I get you guys in on this too. See what he says. He's coming. Okay, so I got this advisor here. I'm not gonna show his face because he's pretty ugly. Yeah, but I'm just I just told him. So I drove it up the steepest hill that's by here, and I don't feel it hesitating, but it does ping a lot. Pre-ignition, detonation, you hear like clacking. So I don't know. It's a V6 direct injected. So yeah, my experience with direct injection on the Hyundais, they either blow up engines or they melt spark plugs and burn up valves. But yeah, I don't know. You guys in the comments, let me know. You Chevy guys, do these direct injected V6? It's a 3.6 liter on the Chevrolet Equinox. Do they blow up engines? Let me know in the comments. Because I'm not a Chevy guy. I don't know these things. I don't work on these all the time. But yeah, other than that, the only thing I noticed was the customer didn't even complain about it because you didn't write it down. There's a really loud wheel bearing noise.
I think she told me about that.
Didn't even tell you about it? 20 kilometers an hour, I already hear it. Here, I want to show you. I'll just spin the wheel for you. Let me lift it up. Because every time I turn left, or like a slight curve to the left, it gets louder.
Which side is it?
It's on the right rear. Here, I'll spin it for you. It's so loud. Here.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. So, oil looks brand new, like it's being changed. Did they just buy the car?
Yeah.
They just bought the car? I can tell because.
Yeah, everything's still shiny.
Yeah, like it's got that glisten from like the used car lot detailed it or something,
I think this is consuming oil.
It's consuming oil, you think?
There's something in the on the solenoid.
Did you check the oil level?
I did. It's brand new. It's like full.
The VVT solenoids?
Yeah.
When shit gets in there sometimes,
Oh.
right?
Oh, I had the other one. The one that Johnny knew. Bought it from across the street, a used car lot, and then it had cam and crank correlation codes.
Yeah. That's
And then
usually a
they
timing
said
chain
that
and
dealership said it was normal, so then they're like they didn't want to do anything about it, and you can't return the car. But yeah, heard some noises while I was test driving. It came from this side when I hit a bump. So I this side is loose. Marvin, can you give me a shake?
Side to side.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, it's the outer tie rod. Yeah. So I heard a clunk going over bumps on this side. Yeah. Okay.
On the up and down.
Yeah, nothing on the other side, just this side. Okay, I checked the rest. So this is what happens. You should definitely do a pre-purchase inspection before you buy something like this. As you can hear from the advisor, this customer just bought the car. Show you how to what? The boot clamp?
Yeah.
You can use that. Is that the crimp style?
It looks like it. Yeah.
Or you got a one that fold over. You gotta get the other tool. Yeah, I'll show you later. Don't you just hate these caps? Is it a 21 or a 22? No, it's not a 21. A 21 won't fit. 13, 16? Yeah, 22. It fits on it. They're tight. It's just this one. This one, it's just the cap. It's just loose. I don't know. Yeah, it's a 22. That's tight. It's just this one that's, I guess, rusted out inside and it's loose now. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, they're tight. Yeah, 7/8.
This is just
Yeah.
the cover is loose.
Anyways, we're doing the outer tie rod on this side and also the rear wheel bearing. We're just waiting for the part, so I'm just gonna go ahead and start taking stuff apart and hopefully not screw myself because, you know, wrong parts or, you know, or they don't come at all until tomorrow. Something happens, right? So yeah, gonna do the outer tie rod, the wheel bearing, and then do an alignment, and then that should be done with this. Okay, so I just want to show you the type of people that are out there who are trying to sell their car to you, and the lengths of what they do to make everything looks good. So then when you pick it up or buy it, you're like, oh yeah, you got brand new brakes and stuff. But look at, yeah, they get nice and shiny. Look, they did, yeah, they did the classic spray paint the caliper because, you know, this front of the caliper is all painted, you know, and then there's nothing here. You got like maybe some overspray here, right? And then you see the brake pad is all sprayed, right? There's still plenty of material left, but you know, they just sprayed paint the calipers and the brake pad and the rotors and everything to make it look all nice and new, right? They said, oh yeah, we just replaced brakes, but it's got like 5 millimeters, so it's still passable. So let me show you the back. They didn't even spray painted well enough, but you can see, you know, you can see the missing some spots, right? But you can hear the bearing. It's so bad. So that's the bearing, right? You can see the classic spray paint here and no paint there. So yeah, make sure you check and know what you're buying. So I had to use the torch because this jam nut is tight all the way, and you can hear it. You can hear it here. It's tight, but I did crack it loose. So I'm gonna make sure I can crack the other side loose so I can do an alignment after. So hopefully this side won't be too bad. Oh no, this side came out easy, so I don't have to heat that guy up. But this nut is tight. I wonder if the tie rod itself will be okay to come out. Yeah. Well, we got it moving, so that's okay. So now I'm just gonna take this nut off and then try to get the outer tie rod off the knuckle. So if you're replacing this guy, you know, you can use a pickle fork. What do you call it? One of those tie rod presses. Yeah, but that's if you're replacing it. If you're reusing it, I wouldn't do that because you can bend the tie rod here and you can never put your nut back on. So just be careful, or you tear the boot with the pickle fork. But if you're replacing it, who cares? You can just, you know, you're replacing the tie rod anyways, so you just use those tools. But I usually just give it a couple of taps here, and yeah, it just pops out. I want to make sure that this thing will, yeah, it's still sizzling hot. So I just want to make sure this get enough penetration fluid in there so the tie rod can, you know, spin right off. Now my issue is trying to get the inner tie rod unthreaded from the outer tie rod, and it's not going anywhere. I heated it up and I'm already kind of, oh, that's hot. So I'm kind of chattering up the that thing right there, trying to get the inner tie rod off. It won't even budge. I'm trying to get it off. It won't move. I might have to replace the inner tie rod. Yeah. It's not budging. I don't know. Maybe let the penetrant soak in there. I've already heated up. That thing's super hot right now. And I can't get it to unthread it from the inside of this thing. Okay, so I was determined to try and get this outer tie rod off the inner tie rod, so I cut a relief slot on the outer tie rod, as you can see. Yeah, a relief slot.
Yeah, relief slot.
Right? So just touching the thread. So I'm not too worried about that. I can always just fix the threads later once I get the tie rod off. But now with the relief cut in it, my tie rod is moving. It's tight, but it's moving. Now it's got that relief cut in it. I can actually kind of start slowly backing it out. That's what I'm doing right now. But slowly, I'm gonna spray some more lube and try to get it to move more. Maybe get a torch, but it's coming. Maybe I should have called it an inner tie rod, but whatever.
You should have a comparison video.
Yeah.
20-year-old tie rod end.
Yeah, 20-year-old tie rod. He's doing on a, what is that, a Accord?
8-year-old tie rod.
Yeah, but this is a Chevy and that's a Honda over there. So he's doing an inner tie rod on that car.
But this one,
I'm doing an outer, but I should have. Yeah, his came out like butter. Mine. I'm just struggling on the Chevy. So I'm super happy about what's going on or happening right now. So I got two of the same 13mm snap-on wrench. So to prevent the likeliness of me rounding that inner tie rod, I'm gonna use two wrenches, which means more surface area. More surface area for the wrenches to grab onto, right? And I can work these things out easier. Sweet. So might be able to just save this inner tie rod now. So two wrenches, more surface area, less likely to round that. Oh yeah. Two is better than one. Well, in this situation anyways. So that's what I'm doing. All right, so there you go. I bet you they don't teach you that in school. So I just cut it just where the threads are. It's pretty close. Barely any damage on the threads, just that little bit of a nick there. I'm gonna have to replace this nut. Hopefully the new tie rod comes with a nut. And then, yeah, I can just get a thread chaser, make sure that thing's okay, and then we'll put a new outer tie rod. So, I don't know how well you can see this. I'll put it right by the light, right? You can just see, like, you can still see the threads in there, but I just cut it enough so it just touched the threads, and that just released the tension on the tie rod here. So, yeah.
thread chasers over here.
I have my own thread chaser.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I have my own. Yeah. But yeah, so, yeah, I bet you they don't teach you that in school. Like this thing's gonna be a 1.5 thread pitch. So, see if I have one in my thread chaser kit. That is just my tap and die set. But my thread chaser kit is just in here. So let's see if I can find one. Man, even when you're wearing glasses, you can't even see the tiny numbers on it. Okay, hold on. 14 by 1.5, and yeah, it feels good. Don't even need a thread chase it. It goes in and out easy. So, but I still gotta get that nut off though. Get a new nut. Okay, my phone has like 8% battery left, so, and we're getting close to the end of the day and we still haven't gotten parts. But yeah, it's nice that, you know, I always tend to keep everything, especially like something like a nut like this, and it's the perfect thread and size for this inner tie rod, especially on a Chevrolet too, because I had to cut a little bit of that nut, so I had to replace it. But I had one in my toolbox sitting in my my cart there, so I got a new nut. All I just need is that outer tie rod for this, and then the wheel bearing whenever it comes in. So I might finish this video tomorrow morning when the parts actually come. So yeah, anyways, I'll see you tomorrow morning when the parts actually get here. All right, next morning they actually gave me my parts. So that's the rear hub and bearing, and then the tie rod. So I don't know what time is it. I'm still in shorts and flip-flops, and I gotta turn on the lights and the air compressor. It's 7:30, Thursday, 25th. Gotta log in. Oh, actually, I gotta restart my computer, because if I don't do that, then computer's gonna be very slow. But yeah, I'm gonna go turn on the lights, turn on the air compressor, and then start work. Okay, so this is what we got. This is for the outer tie rod. You look inside, there's grease in there already. And it does come with a new jam nut, which I guess I don't need to use my jam nut. And a grease nipple for people to grease it. This thing's a little, I guess this is the OEM one. It's kind of skinnier than the aftermarket one. So a little bit of a difference. Personally, I don't like these grease nipple style tie rods. This is just my preference, because you put it on a car for something like this, and you're not servicing your car regularly, and greasing your ball joints regularly when you're doing your maintenance. You're kind of relying on other people when they bring their car in. Like you take it to a quick lube shop, you think they're gonna grease your ball joints, right? I don't know. And then it just prematurely wears out the ball joints because nobody greases them. That's my personal preference. I don't know. What do you say? But yeah, anyways. So put the grease nipple on, and then we'll install that tie rod. Okay, so I end up using the nut that came with the tie rod. I still got to grease it, because everybody uses the grease gun, but nobody ever fills it up, and we don't even have any more grease, so we had to order that. So I'm still waiting for a new tube of grease so I can stick it into this thing and I can grease that ball joint. But for the meantime, I'm gonna remove the rear, and then I'm gonna replace that wheel bearing. I'm no Chevy guy, but you see that something's kind of weird here? The line's up here, but your bleed nipple is right here. So do you guys in the Chevy dealership have trouble bleeding the air out of this caliper? I guess you can always just, take the nut off, right? Flip it up. That way that nipple's on the top, and then bleed it that way, or air bleed it, or stick something in between the caliper so it doesn't push out the piston. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of weird. The bleed nipple's on the bottom, or facing downwards. So like if I'm like here, I'm standing straight up, the line goes on the top, but the bleed nipple's on the bottom. So I don't know. Is that like a design thing on the Chevrolets? Okay, so I did get my tie rod greased. I end up filling up the manual one, because I just left the pressurized one with the airlines back in the bin with the other two empty grease guns. So this one that's filled, I'm gonna keep it here, so that way I know it's full for next time. The other guys, if they want to use it, they can fill the other ones up if they want. So I'm gonna keep this with me. But other than that, I just greased it until it kind of like bulges out, right? So you can see it bulge out from the boot. So that's good. I got the rotors off the rear, so I can do the rear wheel bearing. So that's how far I've gotten so far. But it's not too hard to get the the caliper and the rotors off. You just got to hammer the rotor off. It's that one bolt that holds the rotor in. It's a T30 Torx. It wasn't too tight. It just came out pretty easily. So we'll go to the rear, and I'll show you what we're looking at for the rear wheel bearing. Okay, so over here in the back, we're about to get the wheel bearing out. So we have this ABS wire that connects to here, and then it goes into the back to this rubber grommet, and your ABS sensor is right here. Assuming that this thing's going to fit through the hole, right? All you got to do is fish it out. But it's also held, this whole wheel bearing is held in by 4 bolts. Looking in the back here, can't show you, not enough space. See if I can get around. There you go. There's 4 bolts in the back. So just got to remove those 4 bolts, and yeah, pull out the wheel bearing. So pretty simple, depending on how easy that thing's gonna come out if it's not seized in that hole. So that's what we're looking at. Okay, so I'm trying to get this 1 bolt down here. You can see it, but I'm just working it back and forth, because when I get to a certain point, it gets really tight, like right here. Now it's getting really tight. It's getting really tight. So these bolts aren't that big. They also have Loctite on them. So I'm just gonna keep working it back and forth to make sure I don't snap the bolt. Because that's how tight these guys are trying to come out. So in case you guys are doing this, make sure you don't commit to the point where it's gonna snap the bolt. Just work it back and forth and take it easy. Because I think it's starting to go. It's starting to get there. Yeah, and then it gets tight. It gets really tight. So take your time and work it back and forth. Okay, so I got the bearing out, right? I actually just slide hammered it, but the whole thing came out, and then it was just corroded in this part of the backing plate. Here's the bearing. You can see all the corrosion. That's the only thing that was holding it in. So what I did is I just soaked it in penetrating fluid, and then I just kept hammering at it, and it popped out. And yeah, now I can put this thing. Well, I'm gonna clean up all this junk on the face here. Also clean up the inner part of this, and then we'll get ready to put the new wheel bearing in. It's also you gotta fish the cable through as well for the ABS wire. So got the hub and bearing in. Those 4 bolts on the back. I also used a thread locker because it came with thread locker, so I'm going to put thread locker. Oh, turn on my light. So we're tightening those 4 bolts in the back to 52 foot-pounds. 52. Oh, where's my socket? I didn't get my socket. That's one. Oh, I'll use 2 hands for this. All right, everything's done. It's nice and quiet. You don't hear nothing. So that's pretty much for that. I just got to do an alignment, and this thing should be done. And then I got to take it for another road test and see how it all sounds. But I guarantee you, now that the sound of this wheel bearing is gone, this customer is probably going to notice other noises now. Now that I mentioned like all this, like, you know, what I see, and especially when she just bought the car. So I guarantee you she'll be back. Oh, video's not over yet. Some new development, just starting it this morning after I finished the job. It's running like poo. See if I can get it. Oh yeah, you can feel it misfiring. So you see the RPM jumping up and down. It's misfiring. Yeah, so see that? You can see it. Can't feel it on video if you know what I mean, but I can feel it. But now it's gone. It went away. So it cleared up. That's kind of weird. So it misfired when it's cold, like the temperature is still cold, but it was misfiring, and you can feel it, but no check engine light. That's kind of weird. It says the odometer is 58,571, 94,261. I wonder if the scanner is just reading in miles, but I'm gonna scan it and see. Because it did misfire and then it cleared right up. Let's see what we got. Fuel rail pressure sensor. Clear history. Test not passed. Okay, so I was able to duplicate the customer's concern, but apparently this is normal on a Chevy. There's a technical service bulletin about this. Let me read the description for you. A dual pulse injection strategy is utilized during engine cold start to reduce the time required to bring catalytic converter up to operating temperature. This dual pulse injection strategy lasts for about 60 seconds on cold start. So when I first started it up this morning, and then I was backing up and it started chugging, felt like it was misfiring, and then it went away. This process will cause the customer to see increased black smoke, soot, rough idle, or minimal misfires during cold start and should be considered normal. That's why I don't have a check engine light or any codes for a misfire. To verify that the dual pulse injection is causing the roughness or misfire with no codes set, you should watch injector pulse with a scan tool during the concern. Dual pulse injection pulse width will be nearly double that of normal idle. After 20 seconds, the pulse width will drop by 50%, and the engine idle will smooth out, which it did smooth out after, which is kind of weird. This is considered normal operation, and no repair should be attempted. This cold start strategy is enabled upon startup after the engine has soaked for a sufficient time, such that the catalytic converter requires rapid reactivation. So I guess it's an emission thing. The high pressure fuel pump test will run either as soon as the dual pulse injection is completed or during the first stop after the engine is warmed up about 155 degrees Fahrenheit, 68 degrees Celsius. This can feel like a slight idle roughness as high pressure fuel pump is commanded to max pressure, then shut off to measure pressure decay. So I was looking at live data. The high pressure fuel pump was like over 1,000 psi when I first started up. All of these concerns are considered normal and no repair attempt should be made. So I guess that rough start in the morning and it's like chugging is considered normal and shouldn't be considered an issue. Which, you know, when you first start up and start backing up and it starts like chugging, I guess that's the customer's complaint, and that is all normal. Oh yeah, so note, the use of top tier fuel lessens the rough idle condition effects during dual pulse injection and fuel pump test by reducing the amount. But all the misfiring in the first cold start in the morning is normal apparently.
Wow.
So I guess that's what you gotta do to meet strict emission.
Go Chevy.
Yeah, you gotta sacrifice some things to pass emissions, I guess. But yeah, so I was just talking to the fix op manager. This is a friend of his. Apparently, this lady's she's battling cancer and she just needed something cheap for transportation. So I think he's gonna do something for her with all these repairs. So yeah. So there you have it. As you can see, it ranges from 2008 up to 2019 for any Chevys that are direct injected. So I don't work on these cars, so when I first felt it, when I first started the car and backed up, I guess that's what the customer's complaint is. It was chugging, and it felt like it was misfiring. But then I look on the scanner, and there's no codes, no engine light. It does have that fuel rail pressure sensor, low pressure, I don't know, fuel rail pressure sensor code. But I think that is also normal. It doesn't set the check engine light. It's just because it does a decay, like a fuel rail pressure check of the decay when it's, you know, maxes the pressure. I guess it's just check for leaks. But yeah, so some things I don't know. I work on Hondas all the time. I don't work on Chevys. So that's good to know when you have information like that. So you can just tell the customer stuff like that is normal. So I can just start it up. I didn't start up for very long, but it's gonna it's running smooth right now, and then it's gonna start chugging. Maybe it warmed up too much. But basically that it doubled the pulse width of the injectors to help heat up the catalytic converter, and it's just for emissions. So now it's gone. I guess it's warmed up enough. As you can see, I think it says 68 degrees Celsius or 155 degrees Fahrenheit, but now it's smooth. But when I first started up, because it's the next morning, it's the first startup, it started chugging, and then it went away and it smoothed out. So I quickly shut it off and then got my camera to record this just so I can show you guys. But apparently that is just normal on that service bulletin, and no repairs are required. So it doesn't set a check engine light, it doesn't set any codes, and that's just normal for these Chevys. Just Chevys doing Chevy things, I guess. So anyways, that's the end of the video. I still got to do the alignment on this thing. I just quickly grabbed my camera just to show you guys. But I thank you guys for watching. Please leave a comment down below. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.